What's up, guys? My name's Drank the Kool-Aid, and today we're going to do our first installment of the Infiltrator's Handbook, my new series for Planetside 2, dedicated solely to the Infiltrator, obviously. And this series is going to be filled with strategies, tips, tricks, stats, all that sort of thing, basics. I'm going to let you guys also help dictate the content of this series by, just leaving comments, suggestions, or even sending me private messages if you have something specifically that you want to see. I will do my best to try and include it in a video. Now, I'm not going to put a timetable on how often I release these because I really don't want to rush these and I really don't want to mess stuff up. I mean, this game has potential to be a successful game for many years, so there's really no reason to rush stuff. And I will start off with more basic stuff and then work our way into more in-depth strategies as I play the game. But today we're just going to start off with the very basics and what I would suggest spending your first 500 certification points on, and what I would suggest buying with station cash for the Infiltrator if you choose to go that route. So let's actually talk about station cash first. And the first purchase, there's actually two things I would suggest getting, at least for New Conglomerate and possibly for all three factions. And keep in mind that I am playing as New Conglomerate, so some of the stuff will be more specifically geared toward them. However, almost everything I'm going to talk about, I will try to do my best to cover all three factions, or it will just automatically translate to the other factions anyway. So the first thing I would suggest buying on all three factions is the expensive bolt action. That would be the LA80 for New Conglomerate, the V10 for Vanu Sovereignty, and the SR7 for the Terran Republic. This is more important for the Terran Republic and the Vanu Sovereignty because they start with semi-auto sniper rifles, and those are not going to be one-hit kills to the head. So we want a weapon for long-range sniping that is going to one-hit kill headshot. That's very important. And the New Conglomerate actually start off with the best option here with the NC-14 bolt driver. So if you're actually strapped for cash, you don't have to buy the LA80. I did, however, just because it is slightly better in a few different categories, mainly being that it has very little to none bullet drop. It is so tiny, you really don't have to compensate unless you're at max range, basically. And the only trade-off with this is that it does have slightly longer reload speed, which is not going to be a big deal when we are long-range sniping. Now, if you're not into long-range sniping and you're more into the whole infiltration aspect of this class, you're probably going to want to ignore the bolt actions completely, and you're going to want to stick to the scout rifles or the semi-auto snipers. And I haven't had a chance to test these a lot yet. I have used the fully auto scout rifle for the New Conglomerate, and it's alright in close quarters. It's definitely better than a bolt action, and pretty much all the semi-autos or the scout rifles are going to be better options in close quarters. So, like I said, you're going to want to ignore the bolt actions if you're more about the infiltration aspect. However, that kind of brings me to my next purchase, and this is going to be a New Conglomerate only purchase, and that is the Rebel pistol. First off, this will carry over to all the other classes, so if you like this gun, it's probably going to be, I've actually said it's probably the best purchase I've made because it does carry over to all the other classes. But more specifically, I love it because of how it works on Infiltrator. And none of the other Empires, I haven't played them, but I have went and looked over at their handguns. None of them really seem to have an option like this. And what I mean is, the Rebel is a low capacity, high damage pistol. It's similar to a 44 mag or Rex in Battlefield 3. I guess that's the closest thing I could compare it to. Maybe more like a 1911. But it's going to be a 2-hit kill to the head. If you can pull off a couple headshots with this, it will drop most people in 2 shots. But more often than not, you're going to be getting 3 or 4 shot kills as opposed to the starting weapon where it seemed like you got to put 6-7 rounds in the people sometimes. So this is great for killing people quickly. I've actually outgunned a lot of people's primary weapons with this, and this is what I kind of revert to as my primary for infiltration circumstances because I only have bolt actions right now and I only carry a bolt action on me. So if you are like me and into the bolt actions, I would definitely suggest getting this as the Infiltrator. And like I said, it does carry over to the other classes. Alright, so let's take a look at certifications, and I'm going to tell you guys what I've spent my certs on so far. I've actually got about 900 certs dumped into Infiltrator already. And I'm not going to go in the exact order that I spent them because I just don't remember, but I will tell you guys some starter ones to invest in. First off, you have the Universal. And I chose Restoration over Medical. Restoration actually heals you more, but it does it over time, whereas Medical is going to be instant. And the reason I chose Restoration specifically for Infiltrator is because you have the ability to cloak, run away, and the Restoration kit might give you, more heals overall than the Medical kit because you have that ability to cloak and let it do its work. Now these are going to carry over to other classes, so if you do prefer, say, the medical kit for another class, that might be the way to go. You might actually want to put points into both of these, but for now, just going to do restoration. As far as passive systems, we have the ability to increase our hacking speed. Now I have only put one tier into this because it only costs 1 point. But this is something to look into if you find yourself constantly hacking, which you should be if you are playing Infiltrator to its potential. But most of the time right now when I'm hacking, it's pretty unopposed anyway. That's the reason why I haven't dumped too many points into there yet. But I did put one simply because it only costs 1 cert. So you might as well. There's really no reason not to. For the next slot, I have not put any points into this yet. This is, auto granted. This is just going to buff your detect device. Now, I do use my detect device when I can, and I don't know how much this actually increases it. That's kind of why I haven't put points into it. Kind of the fear of the unknown, and you don't get extra darts, which is the big seller for putting points in this, up until the 4th tier, which is going to cost you 200 certs. So this is something I'm going to definitely look into, and it gets really expensive. You can see up to 1,000. But this is something I'm going to look into eventually, probably fairly soon, but I've ignored that for now. I wouldn't suggest really putting that certs into that to start off with. Now we get to the ability slot, and this is where you're going to have to make a bit of a decision. You have the Hunter Cloak, which basically when you're not stealthed, you're going to regenerate nanites faster or power faster, and then you have the Nano Armor Cloaking, which when you are stealthed, you're going to lose power faster, but you're going to take less damage. And the reason I've gone with Hunter is because my whole goal as a stealther infiltrator is to not get hit, period. And this is going to help out with that. This is going to give you the ability to use your cloak more often, and just overall, I think that is a better option. Now, I haven't tested this out yet, so I could be wrong. I will do tests on this eventually, but for now, I would suggest the Hunter Cloaking device. As for the suit slot, this is where you're going to have to make another serious decision. I would ignore flak armor. As a long-range sniper, you shouldn't be getting hit with any explosives anyway. So that basically serves as no use. If you are fully infiltrating a base, this might come into play from time to time, but again, you're going to kind of stay behind the shadows and try and not get hit by anything, so I would not suggest using this. Ammunition belt. Now this is an intriguing option. I actually run out of pistol a lot, or ammo a lot in my pistol, so this is actually a good option for both types of infiltrators. I haven't bought it just because it's expensive, but if you are a dedicated long-range sniper, this is the only way to go, I think. Mostly because the nano weave and the shield capacitor basically mean you're going to be getting hit, whereas if you're long-range sniping, you shouldn't be getting hit. I mean, that should be your goal, is to kind of stay away from everything and out of range. So the ammunition belt is going to allow you to stay at your vantage point for much longer, up to 4 additional magazines for both your primary and your pistol. Actually, for the defensive abilities in this, the shield capacitor and the nano weave, these kind of mesh, or the nano weave kind of meshes with the restoration kit. The more health you have, you can get up to 25%. The less overhealing you're going to have with the restoration kit, so those kind of mesh together. Also, I kind of look at the shield capacitor similar to the restoration kit, where if you take damage with your shield, you have the ability to cloak, run away, and kind of regenerate your shield with out of harm's way anyway. So the faster shield regeneration might not matter in a lot of circumstances. So that's why I have chosen Nanoweave over the other ones. Actually, I forgot one. The last one is the Grenade Bandolier, and I would ignore that as well. However, I have not personally tested the EMP grenade or the decoy grenade, so my mind could change if I find that I really like one of these. I have been fooled by the decoy grenade, and I have heard a lot of mixed opinions on the MP. The MP does basically cancel out the enemy's shield and removes their HUD for 5 to 7 seconds, I read somewhere. So depending on the blast radius, that might actually be really nice. But I have not tested that yet, so I would ignore the grenade bandolier. So right now we only have about 100 certs spent, 102 or 112, something like that. You might want to, at that point, start buying some different optics for your sniper rifle. As you can see, I have bought all the optics, and it's kind of a waste of certs. I bought them because in the beta they all had different reticles, and I wanted to test them out and do a video for you guys. But in the final version, they either have, or at least for this gun anyway, they have a circular reticle or a square reticle, and they basically look identical. And since I don't really like 12x scopes in any game, I usually roll with the 7x all the time. Even at longer ranges, I find the 7x is adequate, and it's going to be much better in medium to close range. So that is what I roll with. I would suggest if you are a long-range dedicated sniper, 12x is probably going to be a little bit better. But you guys are going to have to just decide for yourselves what you like. It's all personal preference. So after you spend that, you're probably about 150 certs. Then you're going to want to come down here, or at least I came down here, and since I said I bought the Rebel, I bought a suppressor for this Rebel. And the reason being is because when I'm in an infiltration situation in an enemy base, my pistol then becomes basically my primary. The bolt actions are not going to be very successful in close quarters, so I basically run around with my Rebel out. And as an infiltrator, you want to stay stealth and behind the shadows, sort of thing. So a suppressor is going to help you do that. You're going to kind of want to pick off one guy at a time and move on. So that is why I put the suppressor as 100 certs, and it's well worth it, I think. So right now we're at about 240 certs, and jump back up here to the utility slot, and this is, to me, one of the biggest class changers for this class, and it's the Bouncing Betty. And I did not get a chance to use these in beta, so I was a little bit skeptical. However, once I bought one, which cost 200 certs, it's a little bit of a commitment. I liked it so much, I saved my next 400 certs to buy the ability to use 2 of these at once. They are that good. They are really, really, really good. I can't emphasize it enough. I don't think I've ever laid one of these down and not got a kill from it yet. In fact, I've actually gotten double kills from them a couple times. So I would suggest buying the Bouncing Betty, and after you buy the first, or the ability to carry one, we're at about 400, and then you can kind of tool around and do what you want from there. Do what I did and save for the next one, or just kind of go from there. This is simply just some basic ideas. It's really going to change depending on how you want to play the Infiltrator. If you want to play, all about sniping or all about infiltration. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got. And remember that this is going to be an ongoing series. Like I said, these are just simply the basics. This will get more in depth as we go, and I will continue to do videos for the Infiltrator's Handbook as long as I am playing Planetside 2. You'll be able to find this through a playlist on my channel. And if you guys enjoyed this and are really looking forward to more Infiltrator stuff, please hit sub, and I will do my best to please you guys. So that's all I got. As always, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you guys later.